Hey guys, how you guys doing tonight? Anyways, did you guys all watch Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight? Anyways, I want to talk about tonight's game with the Stanley Cup Finals. Even though things didn't go the way I was planning it to go, like, I was actually expecting after Game 1 when the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Washington Capitals 6-4. I was actually thinking, maybe Vegas Golden Knights, they could win game after game, and who knows, maybe they could end up winning the whole series 4-0, and they could be the first team in the last 20 years to win the Stanley Cup 4-0, because in the last 20 years there hasn't been a team that won 4-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals. And as for Washington Capitals, I'd have to say I'm really impressed the way they've been playing the last 3 games. Like, they won since Game 2, Game 3, and tonight Game 4. They ended up winning 3 games in a row, for God's sakes. Holy fuck, I was really impressed. Like, they were really on the offense. They kept taking shots after shots. They kept capitalizing on the power play. Every time Vegas kept having stupid penalties. Like, man, Vegas Golden Knights, they got to get out of the box. So many stupid penalties they're doing. And every time Washington Capitals got a power play on a penalty, they kept scoring. And that's why tonight they ended up winning 6-2. And they were winning 4-0 going into the third period. The Washington Capitals, this game, which was Game 4. In the last game, on Game 3, they ended up beating Vegas Golden Knights 3-1 in Washington. And on Game 2, they tied the series 1-1. And I thought that game was fairly close, but they only beat Washington 3-2. Washington beat Vegas 3-2, and I could say, Vegas wasn't so lucky game number 2 and game number 3. They had so many scoring chances, scoring opportunities, they just couldn't capitalize. But this game tonight, after watching this game and analyzing this game tonight, I could say that, Washington was so dominant. After analyzing this game, looks like Washington is the better team right now. But I'd have to give it to the Vegas Golden Knights. I'd have to give it to these kids, these young guys, like they didn't give up a fight. They kept going till the third period. They ended up scoring 2 goals, and then somehow they ended up getting onto a 4-4. Two guys got into the penalty box, one from Vegas, one from Washington, and they ended up going 4-4, and Washington ended up, scoring another goal, and then they ended up getting a 10-minute major. The one guy on the Vegas team hit the one player from behind, and fuck, that's all she wrote in it. The game ended 6-2. So the way I see it right now, if you ask my honest opinion, the next game, it's not going to be tomorrow, it's going to be the day after, and the game's going to be in Vegas. There's a 90% chance probably Washington's going to win the Stanley Cup and it's going to be over. Good for the Washington Capitals, Washington Capitals have been a team since 1974, and they never won a Stanley Cup, not once. And I believe Washington Capitals deserve it more than anybody. And the last time they were actually in the Stanley Cup Finals was in 1998 against the Detroit Red Wings. And they lost the series 4-0, and the Detroit Red Wings won the Stanley Cup against the Washington Capitals in 1998, which was 20 years ago. So, after all, that's why Washington Capitals also deserves a Stanley Cup, because they never won. And also, Alex Ovechkin has been a 10-year veteran for the Washington Capitals, and good for that guy, I'm really happy for him. Even though I still want to see Vegas win. After all, they are the first. They're the first NHL team, the Vegas Golden Knights, that started this year. They're the first team to be a first-year team and making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, the Vegas Golden Knights. And fuck, I still want to see them win, the Vegas Golden Knights, because either way, they're still going to make history when they become the first team to win the Stanley Cup as a first-year team. And you know what? This game could go either way right now. That's the way I'm looking at it. It could be Washington capitalizing and winning the Stanley Cup, or this game might even go to Game 7. And maybe Vegas might pull a victory out of their asses out of this. And if this series for the Stanley Cup Finals goes to Game 7, I will guarantee you that this is probably going to be the best damn Stanley Cup championship in the history of the NHL. If these two teams get to the Game 7, if it keeps going. So you know what? Either, before the start of this series of the Stanley Cup Finals, I was happy. Both those teams, they were both my team. Vegas was my team and Washington Capitals was my team. I wanted these two teams to win the Stanley Cup. And you know what? I'm happy that both of them faced each other. So either way, doesn't matter who wins. Both of them are my team, whoever wins. But I really want to see Vegas make history and get to Game 7 and make this the best damn Stanley Cup showdown. Anyways, if you like my video, please subscribe and share to all your friends. And I'll be talking more about throughout the Stanley Cup Finals. And once the Stanley Cup Finals ends, Game 7 will be in June 13. And on June 14th, I'll be starting to talk about World Cup soccer. So stay tuned with me. Ciao.